Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this talk. When Amy brought up the question about this project with the museum, if I wanted to be a part of it, and I sort of went through it, and I was actually really thrilled to be about the idea, because it's an idea that I've been working on. Actually, I produced some work based on this idea called the slave narratives, of which one of the very first piece I made is now in the collection of the National Museum for African Art. So I thought that this project would give me more insight, because the project I'm working on is actually based on research. So it would give me more insight into the history of the transatlantic slave trade and trans-Saharan slave trade as well. In this project, I'm looking at slavery from both ends, the Africans and the Europeans' involvement. So on getting to this project, I attended the talk by Dr. Spicer, and she was going through the slides. This head of the slave really stood out for me. And I wanted to explore that. Basically, as you can see, my work is basically inspired by writing systems in Nigeria that uses symbols to represent concepts. The aesthetic philosophy of that art form is that to reduce form or idea to their essence using symbols and graphic. So that's how I usually approach my work. And so I decided to go and explore how this head that I thought was, even though it was a slave collar around his neck is standing up so proud and not bowed down. So I made, I'm going to read it from my artist statement, because sometimes I don't memorize these things. So the very first, as I was going through this research, I came across another person of African descent who had actually made it to the high echelons of the European society. He was a playwright called Afonso Alvarez from Portugal. When he was challenged by another playwright about his background and so on, being a child of the slave mother and so on, he made a statement that says, "My color does not disfigure my honor and wit." She shows he was very proud, was comfortable with the color of the skin. As at 1500s, this is when it happened. So basically, my statement was that this exhibition is layered with history, memory, meaning. For me personally, it's also a personal story of my experiences as a black person. That these layers are summed up in the head of a black slave that was produced in 1560s to the 90s. This object, with the manacled neck and unbowed head, has inspired my creation of painting Ethiop. Now, Ethiop is a Renaissance description of a black African. Not Africans from the north, which are lighter skinned, but farther down south, and Ethiopians. I guess that's where they derived the name Ethiopians from. It explores the history, relationships, experiences, and conditions of being described as black, being black, and being black African. The layers of meaning explored in Ethiopia also finds expression in, there's a second piece that I've made called The Union of Pope Clement VII and Simonetta di Caravaggio. I was sort of interested in this story because then again, I'm also using layers of meanings and symbols. There's a lot of symbols in this work which we'll talk about during the discussion. The Union of Pope Clement VII investigates the relationship between Pope Clement VII from the Medici family and a black slave woman, Simonetta. Both were progenitors of Alessandro de' Medici, called Il Moro, the Moor. The Duke of Florence, he was the Duke of Florence and Penne, 1530s to 1537. Well, I was saying that through the use of symbols, this painting also explores this union as a metaphor for the relationship between, it's a complex relationship between Europe and Africa. And we will discuss that as time for discussion. But thank you.